good day and welcome everyone as we continue our celebration of women in business. It is my great pleasure to introduce Jamie Champagne, who I think a lot of you know already. Jamie is the president of the Hawaii chapter. She was in 2018 was one of the Volunteer of the Year award winners. And I just heard now she was also a speaker with BBC, and I'm sure a lot of other things as well too. So Jamie's going to share a bit about herself, how she chooses to challenge, and then of course we'll get an opportunity to do a little bit of Q&A and get to know Jamie better. So Jamie, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you guys. Good morning. Aloha. Yes, love it out here in Hawaii. We do business analysis work and get stuff done. We're not always on the beach, though. That is a nice, in-between study session. So a little bit about me, background is I was one of those IT geeks. I like the IT stuff. I was inquisitive, but I think one of the earliest traits and getting into business analysis, did I fall into it? Well, I actually was curious, asking why. What else is there? Someone says, we're going to hire you as an IT business analyst. I said, okay, cool. I knew what I was doing, but the job title, I had no clue what that meant. And I Googled business analyst. That's how I found IIBA. That's how I found out there were certifications. I go, oh, you could get certified in this? Like that natural inquisitive nature, which I think we see is pretty common in a lot of our business analysts, to understand why, what, where, how. That's where the role into business analysis in this, wonderful world of IIBA and connections. And it became like, oh, you could get certified. Well, what else? Oh, there's a whole conference. All these people actually get together. Oh, okay, let's go check that out. And the part on there, I was thinking about what would I want to say to this group? Like you say, challenge. One of the biggest things, especially reflecting back, and it sounds so simple, yet this is like the perfect group to talk with. Ask. Like you say, okay, what is a business analyst? I go ask. What is the certification? Well, go ask. What do we do? When I went to BBC, someone says, oh, you should speak. And I'm like, I wasn't big into speaking too much. I did the presentations. I did training a lot. I didn't mind people. And they said, ask to speak. So I asked, and guess what? They're like, yes, you should speak. I was like, oh, okay, now I got to speak. So I hate to say that about the career, but, the part on ask. One of the things, I was always told, what's it hurt to do if you ask? If they say no, you're in the same spot as if you didn't ask. So, no harm, no foul. But if you ask and they say yes, or maybe, or tell me more, the doors that it opens up. And so, I was thinking about that because even the job pieces, is asking what else is out there, what are the opportunities? Well, would that be something I'd be interested in? And one of the things I loved is the skill sets versus your profession. What do you like doing, and getting more and more aware of what you like doing? That, my background, I saw me go, even though I was technical, to go from government to public sector, a very publicly traded company, to go from finance to telecom to healthcare, literally same job title. I was a business analyst, all three places. And in Hawaii, it was across the street. Yes, I crossed the street, but it went to an entirely different industry and still did what I loved doing. But it's those pieces that you're looking for is what about your day-to-day do you love? What do you not like? Because even then when I left corporate world to go on my own, it's because the stuff I liked doing became more and more the side job versus what the business wanted me to do. And I loved all the side stuff too much. I liked going to conferences and speaking. I loved the training aspect. I love working with people and solving problems. And, the part when this idea of enabler, where like the other person goes, look at that, look what I can do. And I'm like, yeah, I've been telling you that for the last 20 minutes, but that's okay, great, you got it. That piece, I love that. And so that piece there goes, well, what does it take to make the part-time become the full-time? Why can't that work? Why not? What's missing? What do you need? And, I had a good friend, I always talk with Heather Milan-Mayans, and like she would constantly harass me. I love it. One of her best advice ever was, Jamie, be a business analyst. Write the business case. Do a little SWOT analysis. We tell everybody else in the world to do all these cool things, and then we sit there with our own, jobs or business or life, do you have a little roadmap? Put some little products on there. What do you want to do? Make it part of your career. It doesn't mean, it has to be a technical requirement. Your user stories could be totally you, that's the piece there. And trying to remember that, like you say, practice what you preach. And, those pieces of enjoy. And definitely, like, it's funny is looking at, well, are you a consultant, Jamie? Or you just do training, like, and I go, no, I kind of have these pieces of puzzle. For the last, I think it's almost now 7 years, I've been teaching at my alma mater university. It's one course a semester, and they one time got me to teach a Microsoft Access course, and I kind of worked my way through there. I think the students taught me more, but it became I could be part of that bigger picture. Again, what's the value to you? We talk that with our clients all the time. I wanted to be part of that university system. I wanted to connect, take a challenge. Sure, I learned more than I ever thought with that one course. But the opportunities to teach some of the courses I took as a grad student, I'm like, wow, like we're still teaching this. This is awesome. And so the piece on, what is the value return to you? Why can't do something? Just ask. Some of my biggest speaking pieces came from asking. You don't know if you don't try. The other part on there is connections. My goodness, the connections. Talk about careers now, and it's one of those things I was lucky enough to see many years ago is connections don't have to be local. They're worldwide. IIBA is one of the great doors that opened that up. And how many, not just colleagues, but friends I have now around the world. I can reach out. I'm laughing who I'm chatting with on WhatsApp, that in the morning it was London, in the evening it was Bangkok, like, because, it's just colleagues, hey, I got a question. You ever done this? That these people, like even everyone on here today, like these are people, I have no problem asking, hey, this is Jamie, remember me? I got a quick BA question, or I got a quick career question. That even if they don't know the answer, they know who. And like that's one thing, to not only surround yourself with that environment, but then also be that environment. I all the time, so many recruiters I work with, I love talking to recruiters. They'll ping me and say, Jamie, do you know anyone who's interested? I don't know, but my network does. I share that back out. Can I be the conduit where I'm not the one with all the answers, but I know people who might know the answer. I'm around people who are good at that stuff. And I think that became that next phase of the career is know what you're good at and know what you don't like doing. I think that's the biggest piece too now is you can be good at something, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. And most of the people, and I say a lot of names on here already, you guys are fabulous, have so many amazing things. Just because you can do all that stuff doesn't mean you necessarily should. This is where it kind of comes back to passion. What do you enjoy doing? What gets you up out of bed? Literally now where we roll out in our pajamas and you go sit on the computer for 4 hours. What about those 4 hours? You're easy to roll out of bed in the pajamas. Like they say, well, get you out and get you up to work. What is it about what you do that you so love, enjoy doing? And, now I think so many people, they got that taste of how valuable time is. You're so cognitive of your time. I, I'm, I'm fortunate enough in my background, I taught a lot of process improvement. And I crack up because it was even the kind where I had some nurses once tell me I was the anti-Fitbit because we were trying to reduce number of steps because like just going back and forth to the printer. If you did it too many times a day, that was wasted time. You could be spent seeing patients and stuff. We were trying to cut that out, but we were micro process improvement. You start little, remember, not everything's the big, change the world. But you start those little, but those moments, those seconds add up to minutes. Minutes add up to hours. Where you spend your time. How many IIBA recordings I listen to now, I couldn't make the live, but I'm listening to them while I'm unloading the dishwasher and chopping vegetables for dinner. I think this is great. I get to, multitask shamelessly. That where is your time being spent, and is that where you want to spend your time? Looking at that and going, what would I want to fill my 24 hours with every day? and then do a reality, do the current and the to be states, map them out. And my future state and my current state don't line up, and say, what does it take to get there? Why can't I be in that state? I've got a client I work with, and she only introduces me as the one that she remembers. I was fine for any contract. I told her I was completely flexible, she said. But the one caveat I had in all my contracts, she said, with her, was I needed to be allowed to surf every morning. Otherwise, I was fine for the time of days, as long as it was after surf session. And she goes, well, what time is surf session? Is there an exact starting point? I go, well, if the waves are good, it's probably like 9 or 10. If the waves are kind of junk, maybe 7 or 8, I could start, It all depends. And summertime is earlier, wintertime is later because of sunrise. But, we were talking, that was an important piece. And one of my best managers who was a leader, difference in managers and leaders, that's the other piece, is who you surround yourself with. My leaders encouraged me so much. I had a manager who once told me, Jamie, if you aren't surfing every morning, I want to know why and what we're going to do to fix that. Because he said that was what he saw in me, and that's how my routine was, literally. And so it was part of him that if that wasn't happening, he wanted to know what he could do to help. Leaders and managers are two different roles. Whether they're the same person as titles, it's the roles. Do you surround yourself with leaders? I think that's one of the best things with growth, is it can be scary. Surround yourself with people you would like to be like, or you like what they're doing. I enjoy speaking. It's easy to be around a group of local speakers and we talk about what we do. It's scary to try to ask the $1 million speaker club to say, can I come to some of your events? I don't make $1 million. Might be a goal, but if you don't surround yourself with those environments, hear what they talk about. So even that with career, like small steps, go hang out with the people of interest to you. Go talk, see what they talk about. It's funny. You can get a bunch of BAs after work, having maybe a beverage of choice, and 90% of the conversation still ends up being about business analysis for some reason. I don't know why that is. We just can't let it go. So we just naturally talk and share. And so that element of your community, of who you surround yourself with, let that also be its challenge. A lot of times there's no reason why you can't join those groups. And now, like you say, virtual Facebook groups, all the live events on LinkedIn, like just asking, connecting, don't be afraid to reach out or just follow them. Just see what they're talking about, what they're posting. Again, where you spend your time a day, we love the fact that we have so many leaders, and I do agree it's important to mentor. I think it comes easier, though, if it's not a set time that I got to sit and mentor the junior BAs. If I be more of me and do what I do good and be welcoming to share it, encourage those around me just to join me, that mentorship is almost more valuable and more impactful, because then I can reach more. The time is doubled, quadrupled. And then they ask me questions. Even last night, we were talking about tips for speaking online. I said my easiest cheat on how I learn things on how to do Zoom and multitask and do all these buttons is someone says, oh yeah, you just click this button over here. I go, oh, great idea, Danelicus, I'm gonna give you control and you show me, everyone, how you did that. Or, like you say, Freudian slip there, show the group how you did that, like turn it around, because that opportunity to let them teach you, just again, be open to that, like you say, don't take it as your credibility ever is slammed, but go, wow, I didn't know that. Tell me more. And I think that's the part where I laugh, is how many times to tell myself, be a good BA. Tell me more. That's interesting. Let me know. Use that empathy. Use those collaboration and elicitation skills to pull it out, and share those pieces. But again, like, I actually am a big fan of self-assessments. What do you want in yourself? What do you want in your career? Maybe it's not a job title. What do you want to be doing? Lay it all out, and then really ask, am I doing this? How much of my day is this? And what would the future state be? Sometimes literally just putting an Excel chart out and doing your own little, I'm at a 3 and I want to be at a 5. I'm at a 1 and I want to be at a 2. Lay it out there, because then you start putting in action plans. That's the biggest piece we want to do, is leaders drivers, the passionate people, they deliver, complete. That's been one of my key tricks I tell people for the virtual worlds, these work from home. Complete at least one thing a day. Even if you got to break it down, I got to just send that email. You want to be productive in this digital age, complete at least one thing. We're always busy working on. We've never worked something. We're working on, we're busy, we're doing stuff, and yeah, we're doing a lot. But pick one thing every day and get one thing done. And at a minimum, the end of the week, you'll have 5 things done. It's easy. I can work all day long and never get a single thing done. That's not a problem. And you're like, yeah, in 3 months from now, they'll be all done because they'll all come together. Do one thing done, and that will drive a little bit more of that, not only sense of completion yourself, that excitement, it'll fuel the next day and other people will see it. Remember, they see products, not just activity. So that's a great way to mentor and draw those around you, as well as attract that future, because you are putting out there. Put it out, get it done, show what you're doing. Even if it's small, break it down. Again, guys, be a good BAs, functional decomposition, story, breakdowns. Let's come on. We can do this with our day-to-day and say, what's one thing to get done? Because, yeah, we're up at all hours. The 2-year-old's going to come running around here. Danelicus hopes any second now. Like you say, the sun's rising, the waves are good. Something's going to happen. Everything's going to happen. There's always later for everything. So pick one thing for now, and I think that helps deliver and showcase your strengths. And it's going to motivate you, especially where we can't reach out and touch each other and say, here's what I've done. Look at that. That's awesome. I got an email done and I got that one PowerPoint drafted. All right, that was a checkbox. Some days it's bigger than others, So, all right. Whew. I like new speakers. We can talk. We like talking. This is the hard challenge is when people, when you're on virtual, sometimes you got to remind people, interrupt me is okay. It's totally accepted practice, because if you don't, I will talk for the whole next 7 hours of our training course and you guys will fall asleep. So
you can't talk for 7 hours because the waves are going to be good shortly. I just looked at the time, it's about 7 a.m. over there now.
The sunrise is peeking up over my neighbor's house, All right. Do we have any questions, Isabella, or any kind of particular things you wanted me to jump in on just yet?
Well, let's just see. People usually have some questions.
I'm literally getting the sun out of my eyes here for you to not guess. How's that? There we go. Good morning, Sunshine.
Jamie, you mentioned the phrase, and I actually wrote it down because I think it's really important to remember. Just because you can doesn't mean you should when it comes to planning your work and taking on tasks. Do you have any sort of advice or suggestions? When I start my day, I come up with my list of, this is everything I want to accomplish today. And then, 90% of the time, somebody needs this, somebody needs this, somebody needs this. And, you end up jumping and helping. And so to stay aligned to your goals while still making sure others have what they need, and thoughts on how to find that balance, I guess.
That's a great question, because I'm like you. I like the to-do list. And, as long as you're okay with the agile mindset, that is my starting structure for the day. There's going to be 15 other things that jump in. The priorities are going to flip halfway through. And I'll feel like I didn't get anything done. And I'm going to rewrite a totally new list for the next day. And we're going to start all again. As long as you're okay with that, I think that becomes the problem with someone like my to-doers, my list checkers, that, okay, my to-do list didn't get done. That's okay. What did get done? And that's the part to where, especially if you are a list writer, did you write down on there what you did get done? That can be a simple activity to reflect for the next day. And so maybe I might, for me, I started doing was write down 2 things for the day, because that left the room for the 17 other things to pop in. So like you say, for now, I'm okay, one thing I've got to work on, no matter what's going to come in. I'm going to check email. I'm a total shiny object syndrome person, squirrel, and I totally lose everything I was doing. So that's where I've kind of gotten the mentality of 1 or 2. These are my things to kind of tackle today, so that I give myself that space. And I think that's another piece, a good point. Allow for those things to happen. Because that's the other part, is that's where opportunity comes in. Yeah, you've got a big project you're working on and someone asks you about this, Jamie, can you help? How many times have we said yes, even though if you did, like if a project manager looked at our resource mapping, there'd be like, no way you have any availability to do anything else. But we go, yeah, I'll help you, and we just go there because we're excited, we're happy to help, that we find time, but like you say, then maybe you go back to what you're doing. And the other big piece is, how much can you delegate? How much can you give to someone else? And, again, kind of that agile mindset versus like a methodology is, how much is good enough? Like, how much do you spend time trying to perfect or rewrite versus, I'm going to just send it. If there's no questions back, it's good enough. If they come back with 15 questions, okay, now I have a to-do for tomorrow. I'm going to clean it up and answer this, etc. They didn't accept it. So, the other part is just watch too, is, are we spending too much time on something to where, like you say, I spent 20% of my time to get 80% of it done. Send it. Versus spending 80% of my time to get that other 20% finished up. Is that the best use of your time? It's kind of that reflection. So, even I've had people tell me to do the diaries and everything, and I just don't write that much. I don't keep track of the whole day. I try it, but sometimes that can be really helpful to go, where am I spending my time? What did I work on today? Versus what I planned. Again, be a good business analyst, plan versus actual results. And then just go, okay, well, did I make any time for that to happen? If that's going to consistently happen, no matter how hard I try to avoid distractions, new work, I've had entirely new jobs come into play because it's like, whoa, shiny object, but do you allow the time for that discussion, that to happen? And if you don't, the other piece, cancel things, say no, can't do things. That part to say no is absolutely okay. I think is the piece there, and just realize, like you said, I can do this. I really shouldn't be working on it, or I can't do this till next month. Someone asked me about doing something next month, and I was like, maybe June, but not next month. Just, I can't. It's not where I need to be, and it's okay. Like you say, just being honest. Plus, you guys will shine the more when it's set up and lined right, and you have the time, you have the mental space, you're excited about something. Also watch anything that goes to the bottom of your list you keep pushing off, just kill them off. Just get rid of it, just get rid of it. We keep pushing on the bottom, it's always, just kill it off. It's like, I do agree, like the out of office vacation email guys, just delete it all. Anything important, they'll harass you when you're back in the office. Don't save the 2076 emails. Delete them. People are like, you can't delete emails, don't you dare. Well, what's going to happen? The people that still need something, they're still going to hound you anyways, right? They're still going to come after you. They're still going to send you every 15 files that are still there on SharePoint and easy to access anyways. So just, I love that. Like the out of office, you're going to be out of office. Put on there, I am not reading emails. I'm not checking voicemails. If you want me, call me on this date, period.
I'm going to confess to half the company that I do that. I don't actually delete. I have my out of office that, to do it to our chapter inbox because we have a whole team monitoring it. And then I put all those emails in a folder of like out of office and I dunk it all in there. I'll spot check them. But for the most part, I'll put them in there because they should have forwarded to the inbox.
Yeah. Like I say, if it's important, they'll come find you. They'll call you.
Sometimes it's more like 600 when we're out. But Jamie, you mentioned a couple good points. I absolutely love your idea of being a BA. Of course, we're always saying that, even within the chapter world. But you mentioned something that I hadn't thought of that I actually really like of actually completing a task every day, have something to cross off on that list. But you also mentioned there's things that pop up and writing them down and crossing them off so that you see that something did get done, even though it wasn't what was planned, but add it to the list and mark it off. I think it's a visual, like, okay, I did it. Like, there's something crossed off. I'm going to try that.
The cue, we do such amazing things, and I think that's the part to give yourself credit for. And, it's easier when you're around a group and people give you credit for, like it's going, oh, okay, I really do some of these things. Even my introduction, I'm like, oh, yeah, that stuff, like, okay, yeah. Because it's not my top of mind. So that part, again, of who you surround yourself with even that can give you that aha of look at what you have done. I was asking someone, how do we do all this stuff in a day? And they're like, well, you get it done. You figure it out. Everyone gets 24 hours. Sleep is overrated, that kind of thing. But, you figure it out what's important, and I've had the night. Sleep was by far the most important thing on the list. I'm sorry, and did it kill me that anything was pushed the next day? No. I had a client that wanted something, Tuesday or Wednesday. She got it Thursday. It was fact. She still got it, and really no harm, no foul, maybe lesson learned for me, but, it was like, this is the most important thing at this point. I've got to take care of this and just make it. And most of the times, 90% of the time, it's okay. And I mean, if someone goes, well, you could get fired. Okay, so you got fired. Well, now you get the opportunity to look for a new job. Now you have a lesson learned. You're not going to do that again, or you learned from it. It is the glass half full, half empty, your piece there to look at it. But life is 10% what you're given and 90% what you choose to do with it. So I am a believer of that, like you say, you choose how you spend it. And even I do that. I look at myself and I'll harass myself. Look how you chose to spend your day today. You got nothing done. Yep, I've had those conversations. I say, okay, well, tomorrow I'll choose to do something differently. I will choose that option. And then, again, like you say, the other piece around when you see opportunities, ask, or ask why not, or ask could this happen, or ask hey. And I think that's probably the only part, like you say, for us BAs, is the talking point is just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should try to do everything. Do keep your feet a little grounded. It does help, get you to that next mountain. Anything else, Isabel?
Anybody else? Well, I think we're coming up to the 1 minute mark almost. I think it's been Jamie, in closing, I just want to say thank you for joining us so early in the morning and before your surf time. It's been really interesting listening to your story and getting to know you a little bit. And I think as you were talking, I wrote down, words here and there, ask, connect, curious. And I think all of it for me, comes back to sort of being courageous to set those boundaries, courageous to ask. And thank you for sharing that with us. I think for a lot of us, it's going to give us a lot of things to sort of reflect on. And I'm going to keep my few words that I jotted down here because I think they're really important and really relevant. So thank you for spending the time with us. I think IIBA is very fortunate to have you as part of our membership and part of our community and to help really make the difference in so many lives. And we're pleased you've joined us today. We're sort of, this is the last session for our International Women's Day in terms of celebrating women in business. And I think this has brought it to a nice closure for us. And it's just a great way to end it off, a great way to start the weekend. And just thank you again. And we'll see you somewhere in the future.
Thank you so much. And I guess a parting thought, since you used the word courageous. I always like the idea that courage is not the absence of fear. It's the action in face of fear. So I say take some action, go have a great day. And if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, please, please, please reach out and connect with me. So much to share out there. So thank you so much for having me.